Ladies and gentlemen, forgot to talk about this yesterday, but I put it on today's show notes. The console war is over. There are a lot of incel red pill losers on the internet that get their diamond Minecraft ore swords, their Hawaiian Dragon Ball t-shirts, and their helmets, and they go to war for these corporations. Since they don't have anything to eat in their house, they eat a lot of corporate dick. And they do this by fighting for these corporations that don't give a fuck that they exist. And here on the stream, I remind you that being a corporate cocksucker pays no dividends, and yet you still ride for these companies. And I'm here to ask all the corporate cocksuckers, what did that get you? Ladies and gentlemen, on today's podcast, or stream, I want to talk about the fact that Gears of War, yes, another piece of the Xbox exclusive family, is no longer exclusive. If you've been living under a rock, Gears of War Reloaded has been announced. You read it, for the Xbox Series, PC, the cloud, and PlayStation 5. Oh no. And it's coming in the summer of 2025. First they gave you the scraps. Xbox was testing the waters with games like Sea of Z's and Grounded, where you played as ants and shit. That was first base. Second base is when they put Forza 5 on the PS5. I said, "Oh, that's one of the big Xbox games." I said, if they put Halo or Gears of War on PlayStation, exclusives are all but dead on the Xbox. And ladies and gentlemen, they did it. They fucking did it. So to bring this full circle before we get into the news, I want to ask the question again. What dividends did it pay to be a corporate cocksucker? You sit in Twitter Spaces. and red pill dweebs about what's better. The console war is over. One of the biggest AAA games to contribute to the console war has officially jumped ship. Ladies and gentlemen, Gears of War Reloaded for the PS5. Let's talk about it. I'm turning this fucking music off. I'm turning my shit back on. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk. Gears of War Reloaded is a celebration of one of gaming's most iconic franchises, featuring 4K resolution, 120 FPS.
From Poison
Yo, shout out to Brandon
sees this month's
with the super chat. You just shed a tear. I appreciate you, bro. 120 FPS support and the ultimate multiplayer experience with cross progression and cross play across all platforms. This is the definitive way to experience the game that started it all. Yo, shout out to Xbox. Not only did you, because I'm not gonna lie, if they would have brought this to PlayStation with no crossplay and no cross progression, it would have been a dud. But you guys brought crossplay. Shout out to Xbox, man. I'm gonna present a question. You know, jokes aside with this console war shit, they brought one of their biggest games to the PS5 with crossplay and cross progression. At what point, and once again, take the corporate cock out your mouth. I just want y'all to think, at what point do you think gamers are going to start side-eyeing Sony? Because Microsoft has opened the floodgate and they said, hey, everybody play whatever the fuck you want. We really don't care. Like I said, it's going to come down to like services when it comes to these platforms at this point. They're trying to change the game. At what point do we start looking, as consumers, do we start looking at Sony like, why can't you guys make your games crossplay? I saw a multiplayer and said to myself, I need to see if TBA still got it in them. Come on, man. I'm a young vet. Of course I got it in me. As we approach the 20th anniversary of Gears of War 2026, goddamn, it's been 20 years. We're reflecting on what this franchise means, about the stories that we told, the friendships we built, and the unforgettable moments we've shared together. With Gears of War Reloaded, we're opening the door to more players than ever. Modern classic goes multi-platform. I don't care about any of this. Developed by the Coalition in partnership with Sumo Digital and Disbelief, Gears of War Reloaded launches August 26, 2025 for $40 for the series, PC, cloud gaming, and PS5.
Now I can afford a refund for my locks.
Yo, shout out to Mojo's dope with the sub. And it arrives day one on Game Pass, so I don't even got to pay for it. Shout out to Xbox, man. Because I didn't want to pay for this shit, so I don't even got to pay for it. Gears of War Reloaded includes the full breadth of content from the Gears of War Ultimate Edition, delivering the most complete version of the original game to date. Players will gain immediate access to all post-launch downloadable content at no additional cost. This includes the bonus campaign act, all multiplayer maps and modes, and a full roster of classic characters and cosmetics unlockable through progression. Does this include, because for those unaware, when the original Gears of War released on PC, it included a bonus mission where you had to take down one of those big Brumacs or whatever. Is that going to include that in this version of the game? I never got to play that shit because I didn't have a PC. But and $40 isn't bad, but I got it on Game Pass, so you feel me? You feel me? This includes bonus campaign, all multiplayer maps and modes, and a full roster of classic characters and cosmetics. Gears of War Reloaded is built for share play, whether you're teaming up in split screen or jumping online. The campaign supports 2-player co-op and versus multiplayer up to 8 players. With crossplay across all platforms, you and your friends can squad up no matter where you play. However, signing in a Microsoft account unlocks full cross-platform functionality. It enables cross-progression, and so your campaign and multiplayer progress. So just know, if you buy it on PlayStation, you are going to have to make a Microsoft account if you want to activate the crossplay and the cross-progression. But that was a bonus mission. No, it wasn't an ultimate. That's unfortunate. Precision performance on every platform. It's gonna have 4K resolution, 60 FPS in the campaign, 120 in the multiplayer, high dynamic range.
This should be enough money for TBA.
Shout out to Mr. Taco Shark with the sub. Improved audio, variable refresh rate, 4K assets, enhanced post-processing, improved shadows, super resolution, and 0 loading screens during the campaign. What's a game Sony has that once it hits Xbox, we truly hit a coexistence in gaming? Bring SOCOM back. From faster frame rates to deeper visual fidelity, every detail has been tuned to bring the original game into the present with clarity, smoothness, and immersion that matches the power of today's hardware. And And whenever you play, you're meeting you there with the best possible version of Gears of War Reloaded, including platform-specific features that make the most of the hardware you already own to deliver. For Xbox fans, a thank you. As a token of our gratitude to longtime fans, Gears of War Reloaded will be a free upgrade for players who purchase the digital version of Ultimate Edition prior to today's announcement. Shut up. Because you know, I was just about to say, I said, hold up, this is just a remaster of a remaster. For those unaware, Gears of War Ultimate Edition came out like 5-10 years ago, and it was a remaster of the first game. So this is a remaster of the remaster, but then they added better visuals, cross-play and cross-progression for the PS5. I'm not going to bitch about it because I actually own this game already on PC. So I get it for free. And even if I didn't, I had the Game Pass. So if you bought the Ultimate Edition, you already own the game. Shout out to Xbox for being consumer friendly. That's what I like to fucking see, bruh. That's what I like to fucking see. So it's just a free upgrade. Fucking Naughty Dog would have charged your ass for that shit, bro. The Last of Us 2.5 with 720p plus. Like, bro, what the fuck? They pulled The Last of Us except for it's consumer friendly. So I can't bitch about this shit. The only thing that's unfortunate about this, I will say, is it doesn't have Gears of War 2 and 3 in there. But then again, it's not that big of a deal to me because my favorite multiplayer was Gears 1. So I'll take that. And it's only $40. It's only $40. This is a W. This is a W from Xbox. Properly priced. Most people are probably going to get it for free because if you're a Gears of War fan, you probably already own this. So really, it's going to be PS5 people owning it. If you never played Gears of War, if you're a PlayStation owner who never got around to playing Gears of War, play the Gears of War campaign with a friend in co-op and play on the hardest difficulty. You're welcome. You'll have a lot of fun. I was going to ask if the other Gears are there, but to be honest, with all the freeways is getting crazy good. They should have put the other two games in there. That's kind of annoying. But it is what it is. I'm a Gears 2 and up vet, so I honestly never played 1, and I'm excited. I always felt like what I liked about Gears 1's multiplayer more compared to the second and third game. It's kind of hard to explain unless you played all of them, but I always felt like Gears 1's multiplayer was just a little bit more oomph. It had more impact. It was more crunchy when you killed somebody. I feel like they kind of softened it in 2 and 3. But like when you killed somebody with a Gnasher in Gears 1, it was like, ooh, like it felt good. Yeah, it felt more raw. It felt tighter. That's why I always liked Gears 1 more than 2 and 3. 2 and 3 added a bunch of cool other features, but you know, it's cool. I'll accept this. This is a W for me. I definitely will be on this summer. Hop on it, see what it's about. Maybe knock some heads back, see what these PS5 niggas is talking about. We need a PS5 versus Xbox war. Which Gears do you think had the best story? Look. Damn, that's a good question. I feel like the most iconic moments are in the first game, but then the way the series ended in 3 was really good. Like when Dom died, I'd say the first game is the best story-wise, the way it set up everything, but the third game is a strong second. The third game is the only reason I'm gonna put the first game story-wise at the top. In my opinion, the most iconic moments came from the first game. The final boss fight with General Ram, when General Ram stabbed old boy. I think it was Captain Kim or whatever, the Asian dude. Like my fondest memories come from the first game. When you meet Coltrane, Judgment. Fuck that game. You said spoilers. PlayStation niggas catch up, bro. I feel like this is a good starting band-aid to the recent price pumps. No, for real. I agree with all this pricing stuff going on. I'm a PlayStation player. It's not a spoiler at this point. I don't want to hear that shit. Y'all be all right. So look out for that August 26th. Yeah, y'all had 20 years. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, bro. But yeah, shout out to Xbox. Other Xbox news. Images of Xboxes and Asus's new handheld leak online. A couple weeks ago, there was a rumor floating around that Xbox is coming out with a new handheld in collaboration with Asus, and it looks like it leaked online, ladies and gentlemen. Images of the new Xbox and Asus handheld under the codename Project Keenan have leaked online ahead of its official announcement. First spotted by videocards.com, the images were obtained via an official United States FCC certification, meaning this is most likely real. Images of 2 different models were found, which are believed to be the Asus ROG Ally 2 and Xbox's new handheld device in partnership with Asus. At first glance, both devices look fairly identical, but eagle-eyed viewers have noticed that the black version features an X on the top left button, suggesting that it could be our mysterious Project Keenan. You can see images of Project Keenan and the Asus ROG Ally 2 below. Why this shit so damn dusty, bruh? You got my dad laughing right now. Shout out to your dad, bro. Shout out to your dad. Project Keenan, they got Kel over there. Shut the fuck up. A recent report from Windows Central seems to make it clear that the system won't play Xbox games, as it will be tried and true Windows PC in its essence. Instead, it will act like the current ROG Ally while featuring an Xbox guide button and more prominent grips. It seems that after looking at the images and comparison between both handheld devices, that seems to be true. So really, this is a ROG Ally 2 that they're working on. I'm gonna guess they're coming out with an Xbox edition. That's probably gonna have like some Xbox branding on it, and they're probably gonna charge you $50 more for that bullshit that does nothing. I'm not gonna lie, this handheld is ugly as hell. This shit ugly. I don't like this shit like it got a fupa. Like what the fuck?
Your super chat is deeply appreciated. This money will go towards a 23andMe kit. I know I'm black, but I need a DNA test to reveal if I'm Taco Fall black or just Blake Griffin black.
Yo, shout out to Kane Snow with the super chat. He says, I'm not gonna lie, I think PlayStation players will hate Gears multiplayer later down the line. I wonder why you say that. You said dirty ass screen. So yeah, if this is what it actually ends up looking like, you heard it here first. I wonder how much this will actually cost. Will it be $500, $600, $700? With the tariffs coming, it might be fucking $1,000. Yeah, so that's the leak for that. What else we got? This handheld reminds me of the Dreamcast controller. Yeah, I can see that a little bit. Yeah, I can see that a little bit. You think they'll release some kind of Game Pass app for other handhelds, or just save it for their own? They'll probably release it for other handhelds, because I mean, at the end of the day, the goal is to make money. I think services is what Xbox's future focus will be. So like if their goal is to make money off their services, they're gonna put it on other platforms. I feel like this is just a branding thing. They're probably gonna charge $50 to $100 extra just so you can say you got an Xbox. Check your audio. Let me check my cable. Mic check, mic check, mic check. Is it good now? We good? I probably pulled the cable out. So what I was saying, I appreciate it. So what I was saying is, yeah, I don't think it'll be anything different. It'll just charge an extra $50 to $100, and it's not gonna do nothing special. It's just gonna have an Xbox button on it, and some sucker gonna fall for that shit, bro. Some sucker gonna fall for that shit. But if they're trying to make money on their services, yeah, they're gonna put it on other platforms. Don't be surprised, because that's their goal. Did you see they had mods for the Wolverine Insomniac game? Yeah, I seen it. They had a One Piece mod for it. I'm not going to show that on stream, though. That's like, that'll get you in trouble. The game's not finished. It's unfortunate what Insomniac is having to deal with, because people are judging it. Wow, they got, like, people are so stupid. Critical thinking is at an all-time low. People are saying there's One Piece mods for the Insomniac Wolverine game, an unfinished game, and they're like, yo, this game is trash. They had to put mods in it just to get people to play. I'm like, bro, these people are showing you a game that's not finished. They're gonna get in trouble. Like, yeah, that game is never coming out because people keep leaking the shit. Almost had a heart attack. Thought my TV was going out. Nah, you good, you good, you good, you good. Your Vizio is okay for now. I just bought a Legion Go with Windows. Game Pass is working fine. See. Internet is not a real place. You talk to anyone in the real world, they would understand. Real shit. Other Sony news or console news. Just months after reportedly canceling 2 live service games in development, Sony announces a new PlayStation studio with a live service game in development. Sony said, we don't care how many L's we take in the live service space. Fucking, what's the game that failed last year? It lasted like 2 weeks. They said they want another one of them joints. Concord. They said, you didn't like Concord? How about Concord 2, nigga? Let's see. Just a few months after reportedly canceling 2 unannounced live service games in the wake of Concord's catastrophe, Sony has unveiled a brand new internal studio called Team LFG, and yep, it's making a live service game. Team LFG originated at Bungie, but also rallied developers from across the industry to bring into life an ambitious incubation project that I'm excited about. Okay, so like a couple months ago, it was revealed that they took some members away from Bungie and they formed a new team. So now this is what they're calling themselves, Team LFG, and this is what they've been working on. Sony's Herman Hulse said in today's announcement, the studio is now fully formed and ready to be introduced to the world. The new studio isn't being headed up by any big games, or at least none were mentioned in the reveal, but its developers include industry veterans who have worked on games including Destiny, Halo, League of Legends, Fortnite, Roblox, and Rec Room. What the fuck is Rec Room? As well as newcomers with fresh creative perspectives and skills. What exactly they're getting up to also hasn't been revealed, but there's clearly going to be a strong social element. You know what would be a funny story? Sony keeps trying to make live service games and fails. And what would be funny is if Gears of War comes out on PlayStation 5 this summer, and not only does it become the best-selling live service game of the year for Sony, but also it becomes the most played multiplayer game on the PS5 in 2025. Xbox game, knowing that Sony has been trying to do live service for the longest. We want our players to feel excited when they log on to discover their teammates are already hanging out online, the studio wrote. We want our players to recognize familiar names and to make myths and memes out of each other. We want our players to love remembering the one time they put off that play that changed the whole story of the match. So they're making something multiplayer probably. Herman, by the way, is the guy who made Horizon. He loves that universe. That's why Sony pushed it. Oh my Lord. Industry playing Horizon. We will make immersive multiplayer worlds prepared by action games that players can learn, play, and master for countless hours. We want to build our games with our communities, inviting players to be part of our development process through early access playtests. It's critical that we stay nimble enough to react to player feedback, not just in our lead up to the launch, but throughout the live services we continue to grow the game and community for years to come. That's under the assumption you're going to have a community. How about you put out a game that people like first? How about that? You talking about, oh, it's important we have the things in place to support the game. Nigga, put a game out first. Put a trailer out. Let me, the consumer, decide whether or not I like your goofy ass game. Shit is crazy. So live service confirmed, which is interesting given that Sony seems a little gun shy about the whole thing back near the start of the year. Understandably so. Concord was a massive failure that consumed hundreds of millions of dollars and years of development time, and nobody wants a repeat of that. Of course, on the flip side, you got Helldivers too. They said the community of 10 people. Yeah, you're talking about the community. What community? You don't have a game. You think we finna dick munch you just because you with Sony? We do not care. We saw what you did with Concord. We do not care. It's too much content out here. I'm overwhelmed with all these games to play. So if you want me to be interested, you're gonna have to do something that makes you stand out from the pack, because the pack is very large right now.
When you
yo, shout out to the Lazy Ninja with the sub. Appreciate you.
Ass into oblivion.
So no, they're working on something. It's coming. It's coming. What is it? We don't know, but I'm sure I will be letting y'all know when that drops. Is this the same? I think I might have said this. Yeah, because LFG. Wait, they're making a frog type of game? That wasn't in the other article. Hold up, y'all. Let me. Okay, so this is the same thing. They're talking about Team LFG. I only read the headlines. The only thing that really sticks out is the frog type descriptor. The term has been puzzling Bungie fans for years, ever since it was first mentioned in a hiring post back in 2023. Team LFG was spun out of Bungie last summer amid mass layoffs at the studio as Sony took more direct control of the company behind Destiny 2, which was acquired for an eye-popping $3.6 billion in 2022, one of the biggest finesses in the last decade. Fucking suckers. Sony paid that fucking bill like dumbasses. It's a game we called Project Gummy Bears at the time. Okay, I remember that. And was rumored to be a mix of elements from MOBAs, platformers, and life sims, combining them into a new sort of online multiplayer experience. A MOBA, a platformer, and a life sim? What does that even mean? A MOBA meets Inzoi. What does that even mean? I have no idea why it's called frog type, though tight moment-to-moment game feel has always been a core to Bungie's DNA, and Destiny 2 has proven the developers they are masters of first-person traversal, from double jumps and blinking to satisfy booster thrusts, blah, 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 blah. They're making some kind of frog game, apparently. There hasn't been a poppin' Frog game since like the 80s with Frogger. What the fuck is these niggas on, bruh? The last prominent frog in a video game was Slippy the Toad, and he's a bitch ass nigga, bruh. I hate Slippy. I mean, I love him because he's a fucking idiot, but what? What the fuck are we talking about, bro? Oh yeah, Battletoads. Although toads aren't frogs, but you know, I get what you're saying. Destiny, yo, what if they did make Destiny with frogs? And they're like, it's different. It's just a frog head on the Destiny body. That shit would be fucking funny as hell. Oh hell nah, man. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know. Kermit getting a AAA. Kermit AAA is the game's gonna be called Kermit's Tea. That's what it's gonna be called. You guys trying to hop on this? I see what you did. Ban that man. Ban that bitch. I don't know about this one, chat. We'll wait for a trailer, but I don't know, man. I don't know about this. Sony trying to create a new IP, which I'm not opposed to. I gotta see a trailer first, though. I gotta see a trailer. What I don't need to see a trailer for is The Last of Us TV show. Season 2 is currently going on. If you haven't been paying attention, in episode 2 of season 2, they killed off Joel, which is a prominent moment in the second game. So they're following the second game pretty closely. They got right to it. I was surprised. And it seems like the internet is mad all over again. Because if you remember, when Joel died in The Last of Us 2, everybody was fucking fake mad as fuck. Like they didn't... I think when Joel died, that's when I first started noticing media literacy is at an all-time low. I mean, for the longest, 8th grade was the reading level in the United States. And reading is not, you guys have to understand, reading isn't just about recognizing words. The most important part of reading is actually comprehension. I will take somebody who reads very slow from the very moment HBO announced. I will take somebody who reads like that and comprehends what they read over somebody who can read really quickly and remember nothing and comprehend. The most important part is comprehension. And recently it's been revealed the averages are dropping down to like the 6th grade. I think this is one of the first times I noticed when the second game came out in 2020 that media literacy levels are dropping. Because I don't care how much y'all love Joel, he was gonna get clapped. You don't have to like it. I can't stress that enough. You do not have to like that Joel died. I understand you love the character. I understand that perspective. But if you can't understand why he died, I don't know, man. I'm gonna pray for your mental. I'm gonna pray. And it seems like the internet is butthurt again about him dying. Fake mad, at least, because you knew it was gonna happen. The Last of Us TV show's ratings plummet following Joel's demise. From the very moment HBO announced it was developing a second season of its adaptation of Naughty Dog's The Last of Us game series, one question immediately came to mind for many of those familiar with the source material. How would the showrunners handle that scene from the sequel? Sadly, even though this is one of those rare instances where straying from the original might have actually helped, HBO ultimately chose to stick closely to the game's events, and now, much like the original, it's learning the hard way that despite Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey's presence, The Last of Us is no Game of Thrones and can't get away with the unceremonious killing of the first season's de facto protagonist. The scene in question, people overreacted then, they're overreacting now, facts.
But unfortunately, dignity is not a proper form of transportation. You hear that, Shadow? Get off my man Sonic's dick!
The scene in question, in case you've been living under a rock and somehow missed all the things in The Last of Us, is the infamous Joel gets beaten to death with a golf club sequence from the game. A questionable, to put it as mildly as I can, narrative choice that back in the day sparked one of the biggest backlashes in gaming history. It's crazy to say that 2020 was back in the day, but it was 5 years ago. Barring a few minor changes, the show's depiction of Joel getting a man chose turned on nearly identical to the original, allowing many TV fans to step into the gamer's shoes and experience the genius of Neil Druckmann's writing firsthand. And needless to say, the general reaction was pretty much what you'd expect. Following the premiere of The Valley, the second season's second episode featuring Joel's demise, the show's ratings plummeted immediately, now sitting at 49% of Rotten Tomatoes and 4.1 on Metacritic and down 19%. God damn. So the show went from like a 90 rating to a 49% on Rotten Tomatoes because he died. And you know, this is where I'm going to take this conversation. It's not where you're going to predict where I think you're not going to be able to predict where I'm taking this. The show dropping to 50% on Rotten Tomatoes after Joel died doesn't shock me. You know why? All it reinforces is that other analytic about how 60% of gamers play games that are older than 3 years. You niggas would have known he would have died if you played the game.
What the fuck I'm supposed to do with this?
Yo, shout out to Tug with the sub. So many people were shocked. Why? If you would have played the game, you knew it was happening.
To the less fortunate.
The fuck out of here, bro. I love when numbers reinforce the argument. The fuck out of here, man. Jokes aside, because I know the show also attracted a new audience, including my girl. And the funny thing is, I watched this episode.
Someone just received a gifted sub.
Yo, shout out to Tub with the sub. Appreciate it.
Justin Bieber once said, "There's going to be one less lonely girl."
Shout out to Tub with the sub. I appreciate you. I watched this episode with my girl, and it was funny because when Abby first shows up, she didn't play the games. But she liked the first season of the show. She had heard about it. She's like, "You want to watch it?" I was like, "All right, cool." So she was excited to watch the second season. I was excited I'm more excited to watch her reactions to the plot points because I know what's going to happen. So when Abby first shows up in the second episode, when she first meets up with Joel and Joel saves her, like she was moving kind of slow, and my girl says, she was like, "Abby, I don't like this Abby girl. She's fucking annoying, bruh." I just laughed. I said, "Oh, you're really not gonna like her by the end of this episode." She's like, "What's that supposed to mean?" I said, "Just keep watching." Oh shit. They started beating his ass, and she turns to me. She's like, he's not gonna die, right? He's the main character. I was like, "I don't know." They clapped his ass, and her jaw was like on the floor for like 10 minutes. And she said, "I cannot believe that they killed that man." And I was like, all right. That's how the episode ends, right? So I was like, all right, well, let's have a conversation about it. She was like, "I'm just surprised he died so soon." And I said, but I was like, "I want you to think about it, right?" And she was like, no. She's like, "I just don't like it." She's like, let me better explain. She's like, "I just don't like it because I like him." But she's like, "To be fair, I understand why he died." And I said, thank God she's not slow. Thank God. Like, thank God, because there seems to be a lot of people on Earth that don't understand in 2025 and beyond why Joel died. You betrayed humanity. Oh, but the notes, the doctor said that it was only a 50% chance that vaccines can work. Newsflash, niggas. Not vaccines, period, are not 100% guaranteed. A vaccine just boosts your immune system. You can still get sick. Millions of people take the fucking flu vaccine every year, and millions of people get the flu every year. It just builds up your immune system. Y'all gotta get off Facebook, please. Please, you anti-vaxxer weirdos. Like, dude shot up and then you shot up a whole hospital, Earth's last doctors, where there's no way to learn this shit. Shit is fucking crazy. But I thought this was funny. I just wanted to bring it up. Like, motherfuckers is mad again, and now people aren't watching the show. I'm like, oh my God. It's almost like they shouldn't have made the second game. But we're here. It is what it is, man.
Every new follower reminds me of when my parents...
It's 500 people in the chat. It better be 500 likes. Nah, facts. Hit the fucking like button. You're basically giving yourself the virus when you get a vaccine. It's supposed to mean the system resistant to the strand. Yeah. You're giving yourself a small dose of the virus for your body to fight off, and then it produces more white cells. That's all a vaccine is. It's not a guarantee against something. It's just a boost to your system. It's like putting an over armor on. Motherfuckers don't know what a vaccine is. This shit is crazy. Instead of the notes, there was no guarantee. Nigga, there's no guarantee for any vaccine. Shut the fuck up, bro. I don't know if this is true. Take this with a super grain of salt. This is coming from the Happy Punch Twitter page. This hit the group chat. I know they host a lot of fights. Apparently, I have no clue who this is. Boxing fans, I don't even know how to pronounce this. Turkey Alashkis announced he's developing a new boxing video game with the creators of Street Fighter. I don't keep up with boxing these days. Who's this? You said he's a Saudi billionaire. Well, we know the game's gonna have funding if he's a Saudi billionaire. They put on the cover Canelo and Gervonta Davis. The only way I'm going to halfway pay attention to this is if they get the big names on this game. He's an oil prince. I don't know if people who've worked on Street Fighter are the right people to work on a boxing game. But I mean, then again, Street Fighter does have Dudley and Bullrog, although they don't. Dudley's the closest thing who actually plays like a boxer, but even still, he doesn't really 100%. Man, just drop another fight night. This one got nothing to do with EA. So we'll keep an eye on this. I'm gonna try to find more info on this. This is all I saw on Twitter, but there could be another boxing game on the way, especially after the release of Undisputed. Most people agreed that game is ass outside of the thirsty boxing fans that just will take anything. But I think the one thing Undisputed did prove is there's a market for boxing video games. People are thirsty for it. Maybe this will be the one. We know at bare minimum is going to have a lot of money behind it if an oil prince is behind it. Depends on what they do for Street Fighter. It could just be an artist. No, that's facts. That's facts. I think there's a bigger boxing market than the UFC right now. Really? Why you say that? Undisputed is shit water. I agree. It is 25. So this year, I doubt it's coming out this year. At the earliest next, probably not even next, maybe 2027 if they're just announcing it. He financed Undisputed, by the way. So it might be ass. Never mind. If he financed, first of all, that means he really wants a boxing game to succeed. But if he financed Undisputed and that shit was ass, there's no guarantee this is gonna be good. They have a new boxing league. Oh, is it based in the Middle East? This new boxing league? You think they're trying to get their fighters into the game, basically? I'm working on a boxing game. Can't wait to announce it next week. Oh yeah, that shit gonna be on YouTube. I want to see. He's the one who gives you the belts in Undisputed. Oh shit, that's crazy. All right, we'll be keeping an eye on this then. I'm gonna try to find more info on this. He needs to finance NBA Live or any type of basketball game, period. Now, that's real shit. Random, but Andor Season 2 is the best written show for Star Wars ever. Yeah, you want to know what happens at the end? The Rebels win. And last but not least, for this batch of articles, shout out to JP for tagging me in this one. Apparently, we got some news. I didn't cover this on the stream. I forgot to save this. But for those who missed it, the other day, Donald Trump claimed, aka your president, he will be placing a tariff on 100% tariff on all foreign-made films. He took to Truth Social, which is a right-wing version of Twitter, basically, where he sits up at 3 a.m. and runs his mouth. And he posted, the movie industry in America is dying in a very fast death. Other countries are offering all sorts of incentives to draw our filmmakers and studios away from the United States. Hollywood and many other areas within the U.S. are being devastated. This is a concerted effort by other nations and therefore a national security threat. It is apparently making Squid Games as a national security threat, but it is, in addition to everything else, messaging and propaganda. Therefore, I am authorizing the Department of Commerce and the United States Trade Representative to immediately begin the process of instituting a 100% tariff on any and all movies coming into our country that are produced in the foreign lands. We want movies made in America again. If this dumbass wants more movies made in America, provide more tax incentives. That's the issue. Someone who lives in LA, who knows people who work on sets and shit, that's the issue. There's a lack of tax incentives. That's why a lot of Hollywood productions are moving to Georgia or like Vancouver or Connecticut. These states offer tax incentives so they don't have to pay as much for X, Y, and Z. If you do that, you'll get more movies. And even still, most movies are still made in America. They're just moving to other states. Now, VFX and stuff like that, a lot of that is outsourced, but there's not much you can really do about that because, remember, you can't tax digital shit. They're building a Sony studio in Vegas. He literally has no clue what the fuck he's talking about. But that's not the point. Well, before I get off of this, though, this means don't be surprised if the price of, like, an example of a foreign movie would be like, when Dragon Ball Super came out to theaters a couple years ago, Dragon Ball Super with the Gohan movie with the two androids, the price of those tickets, if they were $15 for your movie theater, they're gonna go up to $30. Or like, I don't know how it's gonna work for Netflix. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how any of this is gonna work because I don't think this nigga has an actual plan. Like, how does that work if some of the content on Netflix and Hulu is foreign made, but then some of it is made on US shores? Like, how does that work? Anime movies are gonna go up. Yeah, if anything, this is actually gonna push people more towards One Piece. People are gonna be on them pirate sites allegedly. Are we great again? Let me know, chat. Are we great again? Just doing shit. Just fucking doing shit, bruh. He said I'm already on it. It's gonna push more people to it. But this dude has no fucking idea what he's talking about. But anyways, so that's the news that happened a few days ago. JP tagged me in this. I forgot to cover that. It was a funny reply. This basically said they're gonna start shooting Dune 3 in Cleveland, like, because Dune is in, like, I don't know where it's shot. I guess the Middle East, because it's like different sand areas. He said they're going to Cleveland because, you know, Cleveland's also a desert land. So we are gonna bring it back to America. I just thought that shit was funny. Cleveland would be a good place for Dune to shoot. Oh my goodness. But in the case of the animation industry for films, a lot of it is outsourced to other countries for tax incentives. It's all about tax incentives, but he doesn't know that. He doesn't know it. I don't think this dude has a plan. You know it's bad. I shared it in the group chat earlier. You know it's bad when Fox News is talking hot about this nigga, bro. Even Fox News is starting to turn on him. I'm like, damn, even the propaganda machine is talking hot. The Donald Trump administration has now terminated grants that have been used to fund PBS Kids programming. Trump's Department of Education will now prioritize funding for meaningful learning and improved student outcomes instead of divisive ideologies and woke propaganda. How is PBS woke? How is Arthur and Zoom woke? Come on and Zoom, come on and Zoom. This dude's a fucking idiot, dude. This y'all president. We great again, chat? Let me know. Let me know. Goddamn, Elmo's woke. Math is woke. Clifford the Big Red Dog is woke. Oh my God, bro. This shit is crazy. I feel like we're living in an alternate timeline. Like, is this are we on some Earth 3 type shit, bro? But shout out to Cleveland. They're gonna be shooting Dune 3 in Cleveland. Jokes aside, jokes aside, jokes aside, jokes aside. America is crazy. America is fucking crazy.